not sure what's in the drinking water in Russia right now, because the Russian world leaders, okay, I think they're not only at crazy, they're at insane. Because I don't know if you've seen this in the news yet, but as you may know, Russia had reported just 2 days ago that there was some kind of attack in occupied Crimea. This was in Sevastopol, and according to the Russian reports, there were 5 ATACMS that were launched from Ukraine, and they were headed towards something in Sevastopol, more than likely a military target. Russia had air defenses up, and so they went to take down all of these rockets. Now, according to the Russian report, all 5 of these were destroyed. Now, when you take out air defenses, you do your best to do them in areas where there's no civilians. Because, for the most part, even though a rocket has exploded in the sky because it was taken down by some kind of air defense, whether it be a Patriot, S-300, S-400, S-500, etc., that debris still needs to come down. And it doesn't come down in one piece. It comes down in multiple pieces, and sometimes it doesn't really explode in the sky, and it comes down on the ground and then explodes on the ground. So you try your best to move, at least try to get this rocket in a position to where civilians won't be hurt. Well, I guess Russia never got that memo, because it turns out they exploded or intercepted one of these missiles over one of the beaches in Sevastopol. Of course, what happens? It explodes, all the debris comes down, and then we start seeing videos like what have been trending online, which take a look. In this video, you can see Russians screaming because they're on the beach enjoying their day, and then this debris is coming down. Unfortunately, there were some deaths. We know that 4 people died and 151 people were injured. Now, those are Russian numbers. And that right there opens up a lot of questions. Because, first, these are only Russian reports. So do we trust what they're saying right now? We're taking it at a grain of salt, but we're just going to trust them for a few seconds here just so we can go through this main point. Russia, first of all, knows that Crimea, the entire region of Crimea, is a war zone. Okay? So why would they try to explode a rocket over civilians? Okay? Second of all, why are civilians in a war zone? Knowing that Ukraine has destroyed much of the S-300 and S-400 that's there, and we're finding out every single day that the ATACMS can kind of get through the S-500 that Russia had brought over from Moscow into Crimea. We don't know if it's the full system, if it's part of a system, but we know that the S-500 does work well with the S-400. But since Ukraine has been using ATACMS and HIMARS to take down some major targets, everything from radar stations to different kinds of launching pads and things like that for these air defense systems, why does Russia still allow people to get in this area? But here's the thing. This is not the crazy part of the story. This is where things start getting really, really crazy, because Russia turned around and then said that Ukraine and the United States are held responsible for those injured and for those who died. Which makes you go, wait a minute. Wait. Say this again. Say this again. I want to read for you some of the quotes from the Russian Defense Ministry, because you're going to say the same thing I'm saying. It says here, quote, "All flight missions for the American ATACMS operational technical missiles are entered by American specialists based on their own U.S. satellite intelligence data. ... Therefore, responsibility for the deliberate missile attack on civilians in Sevastopol lies primarily from Washington," referring to Washington, D.C., "which supplied these weapons to Ukraine as well as the Kyiv regime, from whose territory this attack was launched." And it finishes with, "Such actions will not go unanswered." There's a lot of things in there that make you go, what? What's going on here? First of all, they're saying that it was deliberate. It wasn't. Ukraine who once again still has not verified that they were making these attacks, were most likely going after military targets. It was Russia who shot them out of the skies over a population of civilians. So it wasn't deliberate. It was Russia not thinking before they took down a target. Next, they're blaming the United States, saying that they're the ones to blame because they gave the missiles and the systems. Essentially, they're saying that the Reaper system's giving data and the satellites are giving data to Ukraine to use this and do that. The reason why they're saying Reaper is because in the Black Sea, there is almost a constant flight going on, a Reaper flight going around in the Black Sea. We see it every single day. It's not a secret anymore. I mean, they keep the transponder on, so we can all see you go on flightradar42.com or whatever it is. I think it's flightradar42.com, and you could pull one up at any moment. You could see it just flying around, just hanging. I mean, I'm looking at one right now on my map, and it's just flying around the Black Sea. Why? Because it is international waters, and we know that Russia's doing it. We know that other countries are doing it to keep an eye on the situation, as they should, because every country should get more and more intel to see what exactly is going on. But to me, the most insane part of this whole story is Russia is saying that the US and Ukraine has deliberately gone after civilians, when Russia does this every single day. They target civilians every single day. Just look what happened just the past 2 days. Especially, let's just pull Kyiv out, for example. So 2 nights ago, Russia had sent guide bombs into Kyiv. And they do this every few days, sometimes back to back. And guide bombs without good air defense systems are extremely hard to take down. And in that area, Ukraine does not have a Patriot battery or a system over there to protect Kyiv and the region. So unfortunately, a decent amount of those guide bombs do get in. And so what did Russia target? What was it that Russia had to get those bombs in there to target? Well, let's go through the list. According to the verified information, the Russian guide bomb damaged a 5-story residential building, a residential house, 5 non-residential buildings, 16 commercial pavilions, 25 vehicles, 1 trolley bus, 2 pharmacies, and a car dealership. Yeah, all civilian buildings. And it's not like they were hit by air defenses. No, guide bombs, you have to have coordinates and label exactly what you're trying to hit. So Russia is hitting civilians every single day willy-nilly, but they blow up a bomb in the sky that hits civilians and know, okay, the United States and Ukraine, they have to pay. What they're doing is wrong. That is absolutely wrong. Which, by the way, in Kyiv, we know that on that one day, 3 people were killed, 56 were injured, now over 60 now, and then the next day, or actually just last night, they did it over again, killing 1 and injuring 12 other people. So how is it that Russia, they can do it and it's completely fine, while, Russia destroys that in the sky in Sevastopol and automatically it's Ukraine's fault? It just doesn't make any sense, which is why I keep on saying, clearly, there is something in the water that's making these crazy Russians even more crazier, if that's even possible. Which, by the way, let's go ahead and talk about last night's attack, because it turns out my videos on TikTok when it comes to Kyiv were all flagged for being violent, even though it was just me speaking and telling you exactly what the verified report states. So last night, 3 guide bombs were sent into Kyiv, damaging an educational facility, a multi-storied residential building, and then it looks like 2 private houses. Once again, all civilians with guided weapons. But once again, Ukraine sending something to a military target in Crimea, Russia taking it down, and mistakenly hitting civilians. That's the United States and Ukraine. They have to answer for that. And this is why A modern air defense system in Kyiv is extremely needed because Russia does this. I mean, besides even guide bombs, they're doing ballistic missiles, regular missiles, drones. It seems like every single night this is going on. And remember that Ukraine is going through one of the worst energy crises I think that any country right now is going through because Russia had been targeting all of their power plants to make them go into complete darkness. We had Kyiv for several nights have like 4 to 7 hours of power a day, and that's it. And that is it. But, it's okay, right? Because Russia, that's Ukraine's fault. They didn't have good air defenses. But at the other hand, we hit this thing, it fell on here, it's your fault. It's your fault. I don't know. And I could talk about this night and day just because it bothers me that Russia just loves pointing the finger when they did something wrong to try to make themselves look good, even though they made that mistake. And Ukraine only targets military installations, whether it be air bases, naval bases, ships, helicopters, airplanes, S-300s, S-400s, S-500s maybe soon. So it just drives my head crazy. And then the final point I just want to make here, and I apologize for the rant, it's just so much that would happen in the past 2 days with this. If you're Russian, why are you going to Crimea? You know for a fact that this is a war zone, right? Like, I know that the information is getting out there that there were explosions in Crimea. And I know that the Russians can see that. That's not being hidden. Yet Russians are still finding it okay to go on the beaches of Sevastopol, an area that is targeted because of its military bases, at least every other week. That doesn't make any sense to me. It honestly doesn't make any sense to me. All that being said, I want to know what you think in the comment section below. I still can't believe how Russia could just keep pointing the finger and still not realize that they're the ones in the wrong in every single angle. It just makes no sense to me. But I want to thank you for joining me. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. I'm Joey. I'll see you later. Bye.